Good day, Hawks fans. Good day. Today is draft day, Hawks fans. But before we get into the draft, we have to get into the fallout, the remaining information from a huge trade that took place yesterday. You can say the news that it could be shocking to some Hawks fans, but we're going to get into it completely right here on Hawks Digest. Welcome back. I am Chris Tip Moore. Happy to see you all guys again. It's time to take off those shoes and leave on those socks one more time because we have some details to get into. But before we do, I didn't do it last time because it was breaking news, but I got you right now. Thank you to everybody who is a part of Hawks Digest, making us one of your first listeners, man. We are almost right there on the cuff of 1,800 subs, and it's all because of you. And to the people who are not a part of Hawks Digest, because we are reaching new audiences, are reaching new plateaus, please go ahead and become a part of Hawks Digest, become a member so you can get the Hawks news when you deserve it, and that's immediately. All right, Hawks fans. So, of course, unless you've been under a rock, fell asleep, had to work, and didn't have any service or anything like that, yesterday the Atlanta Hawks made a move. They made a move to address the center position, the front court, and that is by trading for Kristaps Porzingis. Wanted to make sure I get his name because I know it comes off as Kristoff and everything, and I don't mean that. I said it's Kristaps Porzingis, and he is now a new member of the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta allowed to coming in to help this guy right here, rocking number 11, but not just him. The entire team, the franchise, Dyson Daniels, Zaccharie Risacher, Jalen Johnson. These guys are Yeka Okongwu for right now. We'll see what all happens because, hey, this was a big move. Now, it was so crazy because we heard that it was a possibility. We heard that it was a possibility that the Hawks were talking to Boston about Kristaps Porzingis. Again, I know I made a video about Kristaps Porzingis, but the video and the trade scenario was way different from what we actually got. It was a crazy haul. We end up losing a bunch of other picks instead of just the picks that we end up losing. But let's get into exactly what happened. Now, according to the trade details and how everything went, the Atlanta Hawks, of course, received Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick in 2026, least favorable. So the Hawks now have 2 picks in next year's draft, regardless, it's some sort of picks. And the Hawks moving forward now have picks in have picks in every draft except for 2028 because they do not have a second round as that will be going to Brooklyn, but that was a separate trade, not this one. So, with that being said, you have that. Terrence Mann. First of all, I want to say salute to Terrence Mann. Thank you for what you contributed for the rest of the season for the Atlanta Hawks. And I have no problem with Terrence Mann whatsoever, like none. But at the end of the day, I know that contract was a little hot under the collar. So at the end of the day, we had to move off of that. That was a 3-year, $46 million contract that the Hawks were able to offload. So he is going to Brooklyn, and I seen a tweet from him that he said, and it was crazy because he was born in Brooklyn Hospital. So things come full circle. That life comes at you fast. So you have that going there, and also with Brooklyn, those guys have so many picks. They have 5 first-round picks, and they also have a second-round pick as well. Now, I was hoping that we would get that second-round pick from Brooklyn, but unfortunately, that's not the pick that we are getting. It is going to be 2026. And, hey, we got to make it do what it do, right? We have to make it do what it do. As far as with the Hawks roster, well, hold on. First, before I do that, let me not get too ahead of myself. Also, Boston. Boston receives Georges Niang. Georges Niang is going to the Boston Celtics. Now, it was so crazy because in that trade that I had talked about before with Georges Niang, he was going to the Boston Celtics, but Terrence Mann was going somewhere different. He was going to the Mavericks in that trade rumor. Now we have the whole fallout. You know, it's in Boston. They cut ties with not only Porzingis, but also they cut ties with Drew Holiday, and they have gotten under the second apron, I believe, but they're still a first apron team. They're still trying to bring it back down. The pick that goes to the Boston Celtics is that 2031 second round pick that we accumulated from Cleveland when we made the DeAndre Hunter trade. So you have a second round pick going to Boston along with Georges Niang. You have Terrence Mann and our 22nd overall pick going to Brooklyn. Yes. So for those who expect us to pick at 22 tonight, it's not going to happen because it's going to Brooklyn. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, they still can have a chance to possibly maybe buy a draft pick if they still want to pick one of these centers in this draft. And honestly, I still do want another big man, period. But I wouldn't mind having a big man in this draft, someone that we possibly could sit down to College Park, not have to rush, and so he can get some full development, honestly. But right now, the Atlanta Hawks only have 13, pick 13 right now in the NBA draft for tonight. And honestly, with this trade that happened with Porzingis, it really opens up that BPA availability and possibility for the Atlanta Hawks. They really can go anywhere they want to go at this point because you do have a center. He does have to stay healthy. Like, honestly, before I came on this video, I was trying to make sure I wasn't going to say he has to stay healthy as much as I did in the first one. But I got to hammer it home. I understand what Porzingis is saying. Kristaps, I understand that you're saying you appreciate the concern for your health. You appreciate the concern, so for people wondering, like, what's going on with you. You say you're healthy. You say that you're going to play this summer as well. That's fine. Just stay healthy. Show what you can do there, and make sure that you're going to be ready for the season for the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks also have the free agency period that starts this coming Sunday, June 30th. So the Atlanta Hawks are not done. Another reason why the Atlanta Hawks are not done, because the Atlanta Hawks still own their player exception. The player exception is still there. Now, they tried to see if there was one way that they can possibly work the player exception, but with Porzingis' contract being $30 million, even though it is expiring contract, you still have to look at it like this. They weren't able to use it, so they still have it. They still can go out and make moves. They still can possibly go out and get a Cam Johnson for those who want him. They could get Alexander Walker. So those guys fit within that $25 million player exception, right? So there's still opportunities for the Atlanta Hawks to do stuff. I don't believe the Atlanta Hawks are done at all, because why would you be? And honestly, also, when you think about it too, coming into this offseason, the Atlanta Hawks, they have about 12 guys right now that are on the roster. Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Zaccharie Risacher, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, Jacob Toppin, Daquan Plowden. Kristaps Porzingis, once the trade is finalized, because it can't be finalized until July the 6th, just due to how the salaries with my man Terrence Mann, Kristaps Porzingis, the trade can't be finalized until July 6th. Also, but getting back to it, Kobe Buffkin, Vit Krejci, those are the guys that are on the team right now, whether if it's on a non-guaranteed contract or if it's a team option. Also, the free agents are pending right now. So the free agents are pending, and that is Clint Capela, Garrison Matthews, Larry Nance Jr., Karis LeVert, Keaton Wallace, and Dominic Barlow again, because that's a team option. We'll see what they want to do with that. And that information right there came from NBA insider Bobby Marks, and shout out to him and all the great work that he does. Now, I will have to say this as well. Coming into it, let me give you this information. The Hawks were $128 million over the salary cap per sports track and Spoke Track. and everything. Though, then that number includes impending free agents. Like I just said, I just gave you about 6 guys that are pending free agents. So once that drops off, that's going to be something else as well. They were 18 million under the first apron, and they were 30 million under the second apron before the trade. Now, including the cap holes for 2024-25 season and the addition of Porzingis, it's not going to be a huge burden for the Atlanta Hawks. They're going to be able to absorb that and getting $30 million, under the tax line as well. So the Atlanta Hawks are looking in good shape. They're getting some space. They're able to try to improve this team. They have the draft tonight as well. They have free agency coming up. The Atlanta Hawks have some options. And coming into the offseason, they had minimal options, but still with potential to do more. Now they have opened up more opportunities to possibly bring guys in. We'll see exactly what happens. The Hawks desperately want to use this trade exception. So I'm assuming and I'm expecting the Atlanta Hawks to figure out a way to gain more talent, to make this team better. And honestly, I understand with Kristaps Porzingis, saying he has to stay healthy. But I will stand on this right now, guys. I know y'all want Kristaps Porzingis to start. It makes sense kind of for him to start. I mean, we're paying him $30 million. It sounds like the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins. So we're having backups, so that are expensive. But at the same time, guys, you got to look at it like this. Onyeka Okongwu has been waiting to start. He's been waiting to start. And I just don't see the Atlanta Hawks just saying, hey, we're going to keep you here. We're going to rotate you in sometimes, but Kristaps Porzingis is the starter. When he's been here the entire time. Kristaps just got here. So it'll be very interesting to see. I just believe that Onyeka is going to get at least 1 year to start. I just believe they're going to give him that opportunity, guys. I could be completely wrong. Because one thing about it is it's all about the logo now. And at the end of the day, we want the best players on the court at any given time. It's just with Porzingis, with his injury history, I feel like it would just be better to see if you can give him about 20, 25 minutes of upgraded play, depending on the rotations, depending on the matchups. And of course, you probably play him a little more, a little less. But I want to preserve Kristaps Porzingis because I need about 55 to 60 games out of this man. Seriously. Now, he played 42 games, and I believe he was eligible for about 65 last year. So he played 42 out of 65, which is not bad. It's just I'm hoping like no mysterious illness, as it comes about him or anything like that. So the Atlanta Hawks can maximize on this because he is still a rental right now unless you extend him. But I'm not necessarily looking to extend him if he's not going to be able to be healthy. So, and also, what is going to happen with Onyeka Okongwu? Some Hawks fans feel like he's on the way out the door. I necessarily don't feel like that. But you never know what could possibly happen if the right deal comes along that can help the Hawks even further. I think Anzi Saleh and his crew, Anzi Saleh and his crew is ready to take that step if need be. So, I mean, for me personally, so far so good for Anzi Saleh. And I have no problem with what he's doing because you think about it, we're clearing space. We're gaining draft capital again, trying to get some of these picks back that we lost. Because remember, it wasn't just the DeJounte Murray trade where we lost picks. Remember, we gave up 5 second-round picks for Saddiq Bey. So my thing is this front office is trying to find ways to recoup. And again, except for 2028, they're going to have some sort of pick or at least an option to select in the NBA draft moving forward for 2026 all the way through 2031. So they're trying to do little things here and there. I just think we should stay the course and just see exactly what happens. The NBA draft is tonight, guys, tonight. And I can't wait to get to it. But, hey, I just wanted to give you guys the rest of the details on what happened. Of course, it still is an exciting time. The Atlanta Hawks are trying to make moves. Let's get ready. Let's get set and get ready for tonight, y'all. Until then, next time, peace and blessings to you all, Hawks fans. Hey, we move true to Atlanta, and I'll holler at y'all later.